Thank you. Hello. So my name really is pronounced Freke. And if you can get through school with a name like Freke, you can get to do this. Thank you, Will, for that intro. My favourite intro, I have to say, was in South Africa a little while back, where the gentleman, I was doing an interview on the TV, and the gentleman misread the word philosopher on the auto cue, the thing they look at, and gloriously, I thought, introduced me to the whole of Africa, saying, tonight we're very privileged to have with us Mr. Tim Freke, a best-selling author and world-famous falafel. So I'm going to do my best in this half an hour to live up to that. So, we don't have long. It's a real privilege to be standing up here in front of you and to get to talk to you. I want to use the time wisely. And I want to start, as I always feel to, I want to start by just being conscious of the truth of our predicament, of our situation, which it seems to me we easily miss. Which is that we're meeting here now in this incredible mystery that we're alive, we're on this bizarre, beautiful, bittersweet journey between birth and death. And if we're really honest, we don't know what it is. We don't know what it is. Most of the time we go about as if we do know what it is. But actually we don't know what it is. This thing which is happening now. These colors and shapes and feelings and thoughts, and we don't know what it is. We all have stories about it, of course, and that we need them. And different cultures have different stories, and by and large we believe the same sort of things as the people we live with, so we can get away with the fact of pretending that we know what it is. But when you travel between cultures, or you think for yourself, or you study history, you soon discover that human beings have always thought they knew what it is, and in fact they didn't. So here we are, right now in this incredible mystery that we are, that this whole thing is. And we have a future. And we want to go into that future, and something in us, something's brought you here, I suspect it's the same as me, is that something makes you go, I care about this. And I care about the future. I care what the future is for my children and their children and their children. So we need to know what this is. We need to tell a story. But we need to tell a really good story. We need to tell the best story we can find. Because the way we go into the future will depend on what we think this is. And what we think this is will depend on where we think we've come from. So in that openness, that really spacious openness that comes from profound not knowing, we can step in that humility together and go, what makes sense to you? Connect with each other. And what I want to do with you here is throw a few things that I've been exploring. We had that beautiful story this morning, which is our current scientific story of creation, which is fantastic, epic, magnificent, that we've created that from the Big Bang, which I also find an interesting name because it was very, very small and it made no noise because there were no ears to hear. So from the tiny silence, perhaps we should think of it, from the tiny silence, from something where the whole of this infinite-sized universe has come, through this journey, which Peter beautifully outlined, to this. Another story which reminds me of it, it's kind of similar but older, is a mythological story which we find it all over the world in various forms. And in this story, what we're in is seen as a type of dream. A type of dream, but it's not your dream or my dream. We're being dreamt. It's something bigger as dream. And it's often conceived in terms of a mother and a father, or a male and a female deity, a god and a goddess, in this poetic vision. And God is the dreamer. God is the mystery. God is the potential for everything. God is the big mind. The big mind which is asleep because it has nothing to be conscious of. And the dream is the goddess, the feminine. We're in her now. She is every texture and color and taste and feeling and thought. Everything. She's everything. She's the universe. She is the nature of things. And the fundamental myth is something like the potentiality for everything which has no form, which is formless, becomes its opposite, all forms. To know itself, to wake up, to experience something, to enter a state of duality where it can experience something, the dreamer and the dream. And then it's often said like falling into a reflection or a mirror. The formless presence identifies with every single one of the forms and goes, I'm that. And here we are. That great dreamer identifying with every one of the forms and going, I'm this. Now, on the face of it, it's a very different myth to the one that Peter outlined, but I don't think it is. I think it's kind of the same myth. We've just fleshed it out in a new way. It's a myth that says this thing we're in matters because this is the oneness of being discovering itself. Scientists sometimes say it's all come from the singularity, the oneness. But before the oneness, we don't know. I'm not sure that's true. I think we can say before the singularity, before the tiny silence, the Big Bang, there was the potential for everything that's come after it. If there wasn't, it wouldn't have come after it. So in the tiny silence, in the great potentiality, there was the potential for stars. There was the potential for this planet. There was a potential for Auschwitz and rock and roll and you sitting there now and love and hate and everything. Intelligence. Everything that has come from it was there as potential. And in both you have this evolutionary imperative. And in that evolutionary journey, the forms have developed, have evolved. And as they've become more complex, they've taken on a higher form. And deeper potentials have emerged. The first potentials were very small potentials. But as we've gone through, those potentials have deepened. It took a long time before we reached the potential for life. Once we'd reached the potential for life, we could reach the potential for sensation. Now the universe could actually begin to be conscious of itself, or to sense itself, to see itself, to touch itself, and to eat itself, of course. As far as we know, In our corner of the galaxy, we're the latest thing. And what marks us out in that journey is that we are not only conscious, we are not only the universe looking at itself and hearing itself and touching itself, we are self-conscious. We are conscious that we are conscious. That's the latest thing. That is a really new thing. We're conscious that we are conscious. We've developed this vast interiority to explore. And so the myth works its way out. The ancient myth says, well, when we reach that place and we pay attention to what we are, to our deepest being, at that point, we find that our deepest being, that conscious that we are, is one with the being of everything. That there's one being arising as many conscious beings, and at the point where we go, there is one being, the oneness is conscious of the oneness. This is a very ancient myth. And I feel if we can combine these two ideas together, we might have something really interesting. So here we are now, coming into a new period. But evolution is happening. But evolution's not happening anymore physically. Well, it is, but very slowly. Where it's happening is in consciousness. Where it's happening is in culture. And there it's moving like a rocket. It's like... And as always, the deepest things are arriving last. To begin with, we had just inanimate matter. Then we had life. Then we had sentience. Then we had consciousness. When we arrived at consciousness, one of the first things was survival. Still very strong in us. Very basic thing. But as we've gone through, as we've evolved in our sense of who we are, other things have emerged. Until now, we can sit here and we can talk about things like equality, justice, compassion, love. What I want to suggest is, look, there is only the nature of things. It's all nature. This is nature. This is nature having created a microphone. This is just as much as this is nature. It's just this is the foundation. And it's beautiful because it is this beautiful foundation from which has grown a form of nature like us who has been able to imagine things like this. And with this incredible imagination, we can now bring through these deeper potentials that have been sitting there waiting all this time. Which is why if you look around at nature, you will find she's not much concerned with equality much. That left to herself, the weak will die. That you go to the bottom of the ocean and it's just weird fish. There's a brutality, survival. But we are her. We are her having come on this greater journey. And we, therefore, get to bring through these higher qualities. We get to bring through this deeper awareness. We get to wake up in a new way and create a new world. And our dilemma is, there's not many of us. Our dilemma is, it's something new. It's been coming for a while. There's been precursors for hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands of years, but very small. But it does look like something broader is happening, but it's still very small. One of the things I drew solace from many years ago was I thought, well, you know what, Tim? If you want to be at the cutting edge of anything, you better be, get it used to being in a minority. Because if you're in the cutting edge of anything, that's what you'll be. So my preoccupation has been, okay, what is the really deepest thing that wants to come through? And how can we do it? And my contribution to it has been to try and articulate a new approach to awakening. But it's really not that. It's a new approach to life, which can help us get who we are in such a way that we wake up to this fundamental oneness, as well as engaging from that place with this incredible individuality and separateness. And I'm going to share one idea from it, just because I'd like you to take it away and have a think about it. And because I've heard it come up again and again. And that's that this thing we are in, we need to think about it in a new way. And that way is what I call paralogical thinking. We need to understand that life is fundamentally paradoxical. Right the way back to your God and Goddess, the form and the formless. Right the way through from everything comes from nothing. Right the way through from the simplicity gives birth to the complexity. And here we are right now, sitting in the middle of all of these paradoxes. Like, look, I am the universe. This could not exist without the universe, and yet I'm also separate from it. Like it's all God, but I'm also me, and you're you. All of these paradoxes. And we can waste an awful lot of time thinking we're one or the other, or we have to choose this over that. What I want to suggest is we start to learn that at the deepest level, we need to think not of either or, but of both and. And therefore, we can see the ambiguity in everything, and we can accept that. We can see the ambiguity in ourselves. We can see the ambiguity in the future. I don't know about you, but I look at the future, and I can look at it one day and I can think, wow, it's incredible. I mean, look at all these conscious beings. I travel the world. I meet amazing people doing amazing things. It feels like, wow, it's like the separateness is like the Berlin Wall. It's going to fall down any day now. And then there's other days where you look at the news and I just think, Jesus Christ, I'm on a planet with 7 million delusional monkeys. And we're just like an express train heading for the wall. And the truth is, it's both of those, isn't it? The truth is, it's both of those depending on how you look at it. And they're both equally true. And I could do the same for myself. I can look at me and I can go, Jesus, man, you're a mess, really. You know, you've got, all of these things, and, you expect other people to get anything together. You can't get yourself together. And that's true, I have to tell you. And there's something deep inside of me which is and amazes me. And I see it in you, the same. It amazes me. I see this force. Look, this thing, this tiny silence from which it all emerged, it hasn't gone anywhere. These words are coming from it now, and it's going into them when you listen. It's the creative force underneath everything. And that gives me incredible, insane optimism. That we can actually bring through amazing things. Amazing things. But to do it, we need to shape up. That's how it feels. We need to go, come on, let's wake up now. Let's do this thing. Let's do this thing. And the thing which we can do right now, and the thing my talk is heading for, and I've been slowly making toward, is love. What is it when you know that you're one? It's love. Love is how oneness feels. Love is what happens in this when you go, look, I am the whole universe. I am one with you. I am separate but not separate. Whether that's with one person, like I may feel with my little girl, or with the whole of humanity, or the whole planet, or with nature, or with anything. Love is how that oneness feels. So here, I wish I could stand up here and I wish I was some great man who could go, yes, the answers are, ba-ba-ba-ba, and you'd all go, wow, brilliant, let's do it. I don't have that. I have immense confidence that someone, maybe someone in this room will have it. And that if we free ourselves up to what we are, it will come through someone or probably many people. What I have to offer is something much simpler, but I hope of value. It feels of great value to me. And it's this, look. Let's hold up this word love. But let's hold it up and go, love is strong and bold. Love is not fluffy. Love is fluffy, actually. I love fluffy love. I'm really up for fluffy love. I love all of that. It's great. But it's not just fluffy. It is also big and strong. Love is the only thing I found that could hold suffering. When I was, 1 year ago to this day, sitting next door to my dying mum, suffering, the only thing that could hold that was love. You know that. You've been there. You know that love is not floating away from the terrors or the suffering. Love is actually opening yourself to it, isn't it? That's why we don't do it, because we just think, I'll get washed away. To confront that paradox, to walk past a homeless person and go, you're a homeless person, should you be living in my home? Or there's kids dying in Africa, and face those contradictions, and there's no answer to them. Actually, is there? That's why it's so tricky. Because why? Because it's a paradox, because we're having to deal with this self and other, one and many, all the time. So here's what I want to suggest, is that we can step back and see love. Love. Most people here, I suspect, have been involved with spirituality in some way or the other. We know there's spiritual love. We have relational love. We have family love. Love is also to do with society. And love is also a political act. Love is also something we can take out. And when we do something in the world from connection, from love, from that knowledge that under this beautiful separateness, there is a fundamental oneness. When we do that, we can do it with the intention to bring that new world into existence now. To have made one step towards it. To act from love to change the polis, to change the society in which I live. Because what I see at the moment is a culture without any vision. No vision. I listen to the politicians and I hear, do you want extra on the tax or a little bit less? Wow, man, that's so inspiring. I don't know where to start. Yeah, 5p more or less. Let me think about that. You've touched me deeply, though. What I don't see is any vision for where we want to go. And what I felt motivated the people, God bless them, who put in the effort to make this come together was, how can we find that vision? How can we find that vision of where we want to go? Because somehow we've lost it. And I feel that, I was a little boy in the 60s. And I grew up in the 60s, watching the TV, looking at what was happening in society, thinking, woohoo! There's some great change happening. And then I woke up into the 70s and then the 80s, and it was like, no, things are going to be like this forever. Really? And yet, bubbling underneath, there's us. Bubbling underneath, some transition has happened. And actually, huge changes have occurred. Huge changes have occurred. So I just want to talk about that for 2 minutes before I finish. Because I think there is a commitment from that love to optimism. I feel insanely optimistic. I'm not saying bad things can't happen. They're going to happen. But I have also huge confidence in life from my experience of it, from the depths of life. And from watching, look, my dad was in a tank blowing up Germans when he was 18 and got blown up himself. I am an Englishman who has never been to war. Wow. How many in history have there been? How many generations? Not many. Vast areas of Europe at peace. Wow. I am sitting in a room with men and women. Wow. Wow. That's not been happening for long. I don't care what your sexuality is. Wow. That hasn't been happening for long. I can say the word sexuality on a stage. Wow. That hasn't been happening for long. These are monumental changes. When the Iraq War happened, people came out all over the world and went, not a good idea. It didn't stop it. But people came out before a war, not after, before, and went, no, all over the world. It was only yesterday that it was a good thing to feel bigoted, patriotic, and racist. These were good things. We have come the most monumental journey. And I'm very excited that we can carry on that journey. And my own feeling is that for you as an individual and me as an individual, the secret is love. And my intuition is that for us as a culture, both in terms of where we want to go and how we're going to get there, the secret is love. That what we want to do is create a world which is full of love, where people care for each other, where we commune, where we have community. That's what we want. That's when human beings feel good. Let's be really clear about that, and then let's work out how the hell we're going to get there. And let's not let anyone tell you that love is hippy-dippy bullshit. Because this is the only practical way forward. Because if we don't change consciousness, we're just going to go round and round and round and round and round. But if we do change consciousness, it will all just change. It will all just change. So on your chairs, you might have had one of these. Just says, "You are the one." It's my little gift to you. If you haven't got one, you can pick one up from the chair over there. In fact, you can take as many as you like. You are the one. What I like about that sentence is it captures the paradox of this paralogical thinking. Look, you are the one. There is only the one. And the force that brought the universe into existence is inside you. And in this moment now, we are existing. In this moment right now, one of the great paradoxes you're experiencing is that we're all one and we're all separate. You are the one and you are someone, which means you're the one and you're the one that can make a difference in your world. Because no politician can possibly do this for us. They just can't, because they're rule makers. They can make better rules, and that will help. Great, we need better rules, a lot better rules. But what we don't, but rules aren't going to do it. It's not laws, it's love that's going to do it. Not laws, love. They can't do it. The only thing that can change society is society, and that's us. Only when enough of us change will it change. Until then, it'll just be worse or better laws. It's no good blaming them. They're stuck in a system they can't control. So my thing I want to leave you with is this. Look, you are the one. You are the one. That oneness of being is racing through you on your journey in this mysterious process we call life. If you connect with it, there's this love, this incredible love. This incredible love for everything and everyone. And then this waking up becomes about not just know yourself, but show yourself. Not just self-realization, but self-expression. To come into the world and to give yourself to it. To make that difference by bringing love in the tiniest, tiniest little things, or the biggest of things, depending on where you are, with the intention of it changing the world we're living in for ourselves and our children and our children's children. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk to you. I really appreciate it.